Knittress, and this is my channel on the internet where I like to talk about yarn. Today I'm drinking water in my Erlbacher knitting machine cup, which is very suiting because this episode is my Just Add Color Part 2. And I used my Erlbacher to make all of the socks that I'm going to show you. You can find me on the internet as Andi the Knittress, as well as the Knotty Knittress, most places, also including my website, theknottyknittress.com. So let's just jump right in what you've all been waiting for, because I know you're like right on the edge of your seat waiting to see what all of these skeins of yarn turned out, right? Let me pop in a picture here of all of the skeins of yarn that were made for this experience showcase. Yeah, I like showcase. And then now we will go ahead and I'm gonna just kind of show you the sock, tell you who it's by. I kind of already gave you a little bit of background info about everybody in part 1. I will of course have all of the links down below for you to be able to find anyone, and I think that some of the dyers would be more than happy to repeat these skeins if you absolutely love them. So please feel free to reach out to any of them and let them know. Alright, I'm gonna go in the same order that I went in last time. So, and that is just the order that everybody signed up and my Google Docs came in. So this first pair is from Jennifer of Barley, Hops, and Yarn. And this is her beautiful sock. You can see it did an all over gray, and then you'll get pops of color in there. Now, my lighting in my bedroom kind of washes it out a little. So I will also have a picture popped in here of this sock. And then I, of course, will showcase them all on my Instagram. So you can see the little specks of the Sapphire and the Salmon in there. And then just a lovely, all over, beautiful sock. So I made all of these socks on my Erlbacher Gerheart Speedster on the 64 cylinder, and I did make them all with Lycra because I prefer the way that the socks fit off of my machine with the Lycra. I think they're overall a more comfortable sock, so I figured I would send everybody socks with Lycra just because that way they can experience them with the Lycra throughout. Now this one I held Lycra that was silver because I thought it best matched the sock. So that is, again, Jennifer from Barley, Hops, and Yarn. That is her sock. All right, next up we have Thomas's sock, and he is from TH Crafts, and there's his little name there. You can find him on Instagram, and this is his beautiful sock. So his did like a micro stripe with a really cool spiraling of that salmon color there, and I really like the way the heel turned out on that one. You can see I love when the stripes kind of line up on the heel. It's like equivalent to when wrapping paper matches up with the pattern. You know, it's like just one of those things. So, and now keep in mind that my sock blockers are all the same size. So they're the medium size sock blockers. So big socks are going to look a little loose on here, and then smaller socks are going to look a little stretched when I show them to you. So again, this is Thomas from TH Crafts, and you can find him on Instagram. And I really love, so you see the micro stripes where you've got the white and then a dark row and then the white and then a dark row, and then that coral color kind of travels throughout. So that turned out really cool. And then next up we have Amber from Waning Gibbous Creations, and Amber is Thomas's wife, and that is her handle. You can find her on Instagram under that. She does all kinds of things, lots of little crocheted creatures, and she is a busy mom. And this is her beautiful skein, and again, everything is kind of blowing out in here because of the white light that I have in my bedroom. So I will have popped in pictures. I'm probably not going to say it each time, but this is an overall beautiful blend of that skein, kind of nothing in particular pops out. You know, it's kind of an overall even distribution of the color. So like there's not really any micro striping or any noticeable pooling. And I think that that is just wonderful, which would also lead me to believe that if it were to be knit up into a sweater of some sort, it would probably work similarly. So that is Amber's sock, and she is Waning Gibbous Creations. All right, next up we have Laura from Always Be Kind Yarn. And this is her gorgeous little sock here, and hers is a self-striping, which I knew it would do it that way, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned that before. Laura has a particular way that she dyes her skeins, and they're extra long skeins, and so when worked up in a sock, it does a wonderful little self-striping detail there. So you can see her blue is divided by the white section with the little speckles of the orange and black. And you may be able to notice this one I held with the silver lycra also. And you can sort of see how one side of the sock is a slightly different shade than the other. And that's just the nature of when I crank, the lycra will either be held on the inside of the sock or the outside of the sock, just as it goes around in a circle. But this lycra, once they're washed, it kind of disappears for the most part. Now, if I were to use a black lycra when making these, it would be noticeable probably a lot. But for the most part, I try to pick a lycra that blends in with the sock the best, and then usually it kind of becomes not like invisible, but it's not as noticeable. So again, that's Laura of Always Be Kind Yarn, and that is her beautiful sock. Next up, we have Amber from Ambi Marie Knits, and she has a little Etsy shop, I think. But I don't know that she dyes yarn. I think she just makes bags right now. And this is her beautiful little sock. just love how fun all of these socks turned out. They're all so different from each other, and it's interesting what colors pop out to me in the sock versus what colors popped out to me in the skein, because in the sock I tend to notice the pops of blue more, whereas in the skein, when this was still a skein, I happened to notice like the peachy coral colors more. So like if I were to classify the skein, like if I were putting it in color order, I would have probably put it with the more corals. But then when I look at this sock in person, the blue is what kind of pops out to me, catches my eye more, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So all of these socks I made the same. They all have 75 rows for the cuff. Well, it's a 25-inch folded, 25-inch. It's a 25 row folded cuff. So it's a double thick there at the top. And then I knit 75 rows, and then I do the heel, and then the foot is depending on everyone's gave me their shoe size. So, and then I do the toe, and then I have to Kitchener them all, and it took me a lot longer than I thought it would. So that is why this episode is a little later. All right, next up we have Shannon of Southern Charm Yarn Co. And this is her sock. And it also did a wonderful self-striping. It has a very interesting heel. Everything kind of lined up there. And then we have like the salmony orange color with micro stripes of the black, and then separated by the larger chunks of the blue. And well, yes, it's like a blue-gray. So that's Shannon from Southern Charm Yarn Co. All right, and next up we have Coral from Inkblot Yarn Co. This is her lovely sock. It's like an all-over marled look almost. It's like blue with pops of the peach coral color and just very soft speckles of black, which also appear gray. All right, and then we have Amy from Three Tulips Yarn Company. And this is her beautiful sock. It also did sort of a self-striping. It's a little more of a zigzag than a self-striping. You can see how it kind of travels and then sort of lines up and overlaps in each row. So this is her beautiful sock. This really gives me like tiger lily vibes. I don't know why. I mean, not with the blue, but I guess just the orange and the little black speckles. Now this one I chose to carry with a blue lycra, which I don't think that you can really tell, but that blue popped out so much I decided that rather than using silver or taupe, which I thought would mute that vibrant color a little more, I went ahead and did the blue. So that does change the appearance slightly of the orange part, but not so much. So again, that's Amy from Three Tulips Yarn Company. And then after Amy, we have Rebecca from Stars Grove Hand Dyed Fibers. And this is her pretty sock. It's like an overall gray appearance. And Rebecca also donated a skein for a giveaway, which I will let you guys know about at the end, because I'm going to be giving this skein away as well as one of Here in Colors Dye Works. So this one is a very beautiful color. You can see a little bit of pooling with some of the salmon orange color there, and the gray and the blue kind of flow right into each other. All right, I am talking super fast, I guess, but I kind of gave you guys all of the information before, so it's kind of just like a show and tell this time around. So next up we have Tamara from CAFFEINATEDcraftmama, and this is her very striking sock. I really like the way that this one did some fun pooling, and it's overall got more of a black appearance to the sock. It's really washed out. I'm gonna just keep repeating myself, but let's see. Really the red and the blue show up more on the camera, but in person I find that it has an overall black appearance to this sock. It did fun like pooling down there, but also like the red and black kind of sort of do a micro stripe, I would say, because and it's just like the lighter gray and the blue that look like it kind of travel between. So that's a super fun workup of that skein. All right, and that's Tamara of Caffeinated Craft Mama. And then we have Amber from Ozone Mama. And this one is a very different take on, like, not many of them ended up light. A lot of them ended up like overall gray or blue. This one I would say is more overall like a peachy salmon color. So we've got kind of like a zigzag pool around the body of that sock. Some very, very crisp speckles in there. Overall, very beautiful. So that's Amber of Ozone Mama yarn. I hope that everybody super loves their socks, because I certainly enjoy making them. All right. Next we have Hailey of Binky Bean. This is her beautiful sock. It's just like a beautiful charcoal gray sock with like spots of black and ever so slight speckles of the salmon and the sapphire. It kind of did like a fun pooling around the sock there. This is Hailey of Binky Bean. All right, next up we have Stephanie of Blackbird Sycamore yarn. This is her beautiful sock. a very soft colorway. The blue. Oh, I've got Stellina from my spinning on there. So we've got blue and gray stripes with separated by the soft peach section. I will, when I'm done, I'll show you a picture of or a video rather, of all of the socks together, because it's kind of hard for me to get them all in one shot, so I didn't actually do that. All right, next up we have Lacy, Mermaid Tangles Yarn Co. And this is her beautiful sock. Got some fun pooling and flashing in there with the little bits of black, and then overall color appearance. Super fun. And again, they're so washed out. I know, I've said it like 16 times already, but I'm gonna say it 3 more probably. So yeah, that one is Lacy of Mermaid Tangles Yarn Company Co. All right, and then next up we have Michelle from Maximum Yarnage, and then this is her sock. Very beautiful. This one is like almost all over blue, but like a really dark, moody blue. Just subtle hints of the peach, or the salmon, I guess, rather, salmon Tangelo. And that's Michelle of Maximum Yarnage. Oh, yeah, see, they just... Oh, my purple sweater doesn't even look purple on screen either. It looks very blue. Alright, next up, we have another Michelle Roxanne of Starlight and Scout. And Starlight and Scout is her design company, and she does Ancient Queen fibers. And this is her sock, and I don't think you can really see it. Maybe. It's got a little bit of sparkle in it. Sparkly, sparkly. So that did like a fun spiral pooling with the peach and coral traveling, and the blue and black in between, little tiny micro stripes of the blue in between some of the coral sections there. Did a fun little striping on the heel. Super fun socks. So, you know, when you get variegated skeins and you don't know what to do with them, and you don't want to knit them in a shawl or a sweater, if you can't enjoy a lovely pooled sock, then maybe don't buy variegated yarns. That is Michelle Roxanne of Starlight and Scout. And then next up we have Andrea the Cat Lady. Cat is for craft all the things. And this is her beautiful sock. I really like how you got the micro stripes that are the black in between the salmon, and it kind of like makes it pop. And then you have the blue in between, and this heel just makes me really happy the way it kind of separated. So like you see on this side, we've got like the peach salmon at the top and then the blue on the bottom, and then on this side the blue's at the top and the peach salmon's bottom. It's super fun. And then It's like an overall repeating pattern there in that sock, and it even has a fun toe. And it's a little more black in person than it's showing up here. Very, very blue, but still it's a very visual contrast in the stripes. And that again is Andrea the Cat Lady. And then we have, I don't know if I did mine first. I'm gonna go with his first. Then we have Here in Colors Dye Works, which I lost the label for this one, but there we go. Here in Colors Dye Works. This skein is this yarn, and you can win this if you stick around a little bit longer. So his did some really fun pooling down the whole sock, and I just like how it kind of traveled really like the same down the sock. He loves the way this turned out. That he is Bobby, my husband of Here in Colors Dye Works. I don't know if I even said his name. But yeah, he helped me Kitchener all of these socks, so if anybody's are messed up, let's blame it on him. But no, he's actually really good at it. He's don't tell him, but he's a little bit better than I am at it, because the way that these socks are made, when I leave live stitches and then I have waste yarn and then I Kitchener them with the darning needle, and I always split the waste yarn by accident, so I have to cut it out. He rarely splits the waste yarn, so technically he's better at it than me. But he was not paying attention to who was what, and he was just Kitchenering them all. And he picked up this sock. He said, "Oh, this one's really cool. Who did that?" And I'm like, "You did. You dyed that." So again, that's Bobby of Here in Colors Dye Works. And last, but certainly not least, is my cool sock. Andi, the Naughty Knittress. See? The Naughty Knittress. And this is my sock, and I'm super happy with how that pooled up. It did some fun little placements of the yarn. You can see an like a almost slight self-striping where there's like a row of black and then a row of like the color, and just get those little blips. I think that's called flashing when it kind of does that rather than pooling. But I don't know the difference actually, but I'm pretty sure it sounds accurate. We'll pretend I know what I'm talking about. So that was my sock. Let's see if I can hold all of these up at the same time. Probably not. This is a lot of socks. So let's see. No, I can't. Okay, let's see. It's a 19 pair of socks that I made, so it took me a little bit long, but you can see that these are all unique to each other. Some of the skeins, yes, maybe look similar to each other. For example, I thought that mine and Binky Bean Hailey's kind of look similar, but you can see that they make different socks. And I thought also that Stephanie and Ozone Mama's kind of looked similar, but you can see they're different socks. So it just goes to show you that if you get a skein of yarn and another skein of yarn looks almost exactly like it, it might work up completely differently. So Don't judge a skein by its twist. Knit a swatch. You know, and I thought that these skeins look similar. They did completely different things. You know, it's just, it's all in the gauge and the workup. You know, even though they are like of a similar saturation, they were dark skeins overall. They're all different and gorgeous. You know, so just buy the yarn, just knit it up, enjoy the surprise, see what happens. I thoroughly enjoy doing this project every year. I say every year like I've done it for years. It's year 2. But I'm going to do it again next year. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it probably January, February next year, because I think that's a little bit less of a busy time for dyers to maybe join in, and they won't have so much on their plate prepping for, you know, like fall shows and stuff like that. So what I want to do for the giveaway is, oops, I didn't put Andrea's label back in her sock. It's okay, because I got to know these socks. I know whose is whose. So I'm going to do a giveaway for these 2 skeins, and I think that I will pick 2 winners. So one person will win this skein, and one person will win this skein. And you know what? Let's do 3 winners. One person will win this skein. So I'm going to pick 3 winners from the comments down below. What I would like you to do is comment whatever you'd like, but then suggest maybe what 3 colors I should use for next year. So what 3 colors should I use for next year's Just Add Color 2024? Because I have a lot of ideas rolling around in my head, and I don't want it to be like typical Andi colors, but I don't know, I've got some ideas. So comment down below, tell me what you think of everybody's socks, and just suggest what color combination I should do for next year, and you could be a lucky winner of one of these games. So I will pick 3 winners, so be sure to